Good evening. I'm Greg Ferris, President of the Forney ISD Board of Trustees, and it's now 6:30, and we'll reconvene this meeting back into regular session. At this time, we'll move on to our welcome and our invocation. Tonight, we're privileged to have Jack Wilkie. He serves as minister to Forney Church of Christ since September of 2018, after spending 5 years ministering in East Texas. Jack is married to Allison, and together they're blessed to have a 1-year-old daughter, Gloria. Pastor Wilkie, who serves the community as a member, is also a member of the Forney Lions Club. Forney Church of Christ, where he is pastor, has adopted Johnson Elementary as their partner campus. The congregation has supported Johnson by reading to students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. This allows teachers to enjoy an extended lunch or have collaboration time. Recently, they bought a 1930s telegraph machine to demonstrate Morse code. And this is in the 4th grade classes. Students in one class sent messages to another class by tapping out the message using the Morse code. The other classroom then had to interpret the code being sent. The students were astonished by this presentation. We're thankful for Pastor Wilkie and the Forney Church of Christ being a member of our Forney family. Would you please rise as Pastor leads us in our invocation?
Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for involving us in the schools. I want to congratulate everyone on another year nearly completed. Let's pray if you would like. Father, come before you, lifting up each one who's here, lifting up our board. They strive to serve the schools in this ISD. We ask that you would give them vision and wisdom. We also pray for all those in the administration, for the principals of our schools, as they try and guide each of their campuses, as they watch over those children and coordinate those teachers, and all involved in those efforts. We pray for each of the teachers, for the wisdom and love and care they bring to the classrooms. We pray for, especially for the students. We pray for their safety. We pray for their success. We pray for their health, both mental and physical. We pray for them as they close out this school year, that they would be diligent in their work, and that they would, again, have the success of seeing the end result of their work. We pray for the families. We pray for their parents. For all involved in backing them up for this community. Help us to embrace and care for these children and help them to establish their ways as they grow, and especially those who are graduating, that you would guide them in their next steps in life, that you would keep them safe, that you would give them vision and purpose in the direction that they go from here. We again pray for the board. We pray for this time of meeting, that their choices, their actions, their decisions would be wise and would be what is needed for all those mentioned, those in administration, the students, the families, that this Forney community would be stronger because of the young people going through our schools. We pray all these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. You may be seated. Well, thank you all again for being here tonight. We'll move on then to item B, which will be our pledges, and we'd like to introduce at this time our elementary and secondary students of the month. First up tonight will be Miss Brandy Hosick, and she'll be introducing the North Forney High School Student of the Month.
Thank you. Wow. Okay. Good evening, Board and Dr. Terry. At this time, I would like to introduce you to a very special student with us tonight, Miss Megan Kissy. Megan, coming up here. Megan will be leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, but I would like to share a little bit about her before she does so. Megan is the daughter of Gene Rotering and David Kissy, and is, in my opinion, truly one of a kind. Megan is simply extraordinary and has a long list of accomplishments to her name. She has maintained top 10 status in her class throughout her entire high school career. Megan is a 2-year member of the National Honor Society and a 4-year varsity basketball player. As captain this year, Megan led her team to the 4th round of the state playoffs. As a fan in the stands, I can tell you that she is absolutely calm under pressure and plays with her heart. Megan is one of the youngest members of the senior class, beginning her senior year at only 16 years old. She credits her young age as a motivator, claiming that it pushed her to do better and work harder since she must prove herself. Megan is graduating number 9 in her class with a GPA of 5.01905. After graduation, Megan wants to major in pre-med. She will pursue medical school and wants to be an orthopedic surgeon, trauma surgeon, or anesthesiologist, and I hope I need none of those things. When asked what experience has been the most meaningful, Megan says, basketball has been one of the biggest things that has shaped me into who I am today. Being able to work as a team and help my teammates has helped develop my critical thinking skills. being able to have others give me guidance, staying disciplined, and overall making me believe in myself has been the most meaningful to me. Megan is sure to do amazing things, and I look forward to hearing about every single step. We are blessed to have been able to be a part of your story up until this point. Everybody, Megan Kissy.
Thank you very much. At this time, Mrs. Laurie Branch from Henderson Elementary will introduce our elementary student of the month.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Terry and the Board of Trustees, for allowing me to recognize the Elementary Student of the Month. It is with great pleasure I present to you sixth grader Hope Glasson. Hope, come on out. Hope is the daughter of Philip and Rayana Glasson. She has an older brother, Layton, who attends Forney High School. Hope has attended Henderson since she was in kindergarten, and through the process of choosing Henderson's Student of the Month, Hope was unanimously nominated by 4th through 6th grade teachers. When I asked Hope's teachers about her, they said that aside from Hope's high academic standing in each of her classes, she has been an excellent classmate and friend to her fellow Henderson Hawks. She starts and ends each day with a smile and is patient, responsible, and tolerant of others. With confidence, she asks questions and participates actively in every class. She applies the skills that she's learned and is always willing to help others without being asked. Hope is also very active. She is on the student council, the safety patrol, choir, percussion club, art club, coding club, and color guard. Outside of school, when she has time, Hope enjoys spending her time with her family. She and her dad share a love for skateboarding together, and her mother jump on the trampoline or play with their dog Brownie. She also spends a lot of free time playing basketball. Hope has always dreamed of working at NASA. She wanted that dream until she learned that she would have to work in very small spaces and figured out she was quite claustrophobic. So she has changed her dream and wants to be an electrical engineer to design things and then teach others how to use those things. Hope lights up a room with her smile and enthusiasm for life. She is a leader in all definitions of the word. She displays honor, respect, and integrity in all she does. Hope is an excellent representative of her school and of the Forney Independent School District as a whole. It's an honor to recognize our Elementary Student of the Month, Hope Glasson.
If you would all rise, we'll have our pledges and Megan will start us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to the Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Step over here. Parents, with that family with them, if you'd like to come up to the photo. Well, thank you all very much. Now, we would like, as a board, like to realize that you didn't all come to see us. We know, okay? We acknowledge that. So now we're moving to the recognitions for all of you tonight. So moving on to item 4, recognitions. We'll start with student recognitions. And the first one up to share with us tonight is Dr. Campbell. We introduce the Forney High School top 10 students.
Thank you, School Board. Dr. Terry, I'd like to introduce the top 10 students for Forney High School. First up, we have number 10. Yes, I sound like I'm in a little place here, so it'll be good. Callie Mentor with a GPA of 4.98158. Number 9, Dell Donahue with a GPA of 4.98750. Number 8, Madison Rooney with a GPA of 4.99. Next up, we have number 7, Savannah Cottrell with a GPA of 5.01. Number 6, Nirali Patel with a GPA of 5.07. Number 5, Hallie O'Prey with a GPA of 5.11. Number 4, Catherine White with a GPA of 5.12. Number 3, Jordan Engler with a GPA of 5.17. And number 2, your salutatorian, Samuel Ivy with a GPA of 5.21. And number 1, your valedictorian for Forney High School, William Crawford with a GPA of 5.31.
Did you want us to stay? It's not.
Good evening. It is my pleasure to introduce the top 10 seniors for North Forney High School. Starting at number 10, Jason Whitaker. Jason has a GPA of 5.0175. Number 9, Megan Kissy. Megan has a GPA of 5.019. Number 8, Kennedy Elliott DePappy. Kennedy's GPA is 5.05. And number 7 is Jaden Thompson. Her GPA is 5.0568. Number 6 is Caitlin Fitch. Caitlin's GPA is 5.1558. And number 5 is Brittany Witcher. Brittany's GPA is 5.168. Number 4 is Shannon Boyle with a GPA of 5.309. Number 3, Thomas Howard. GPA of 5.357. The North Forney salutatorian for the class of 2019 is Austin Began. Austin has a GPA of 5.386, and the valedictorian is Madeline Burr. Her GPA is an astounding 5.4222. Great job, guys.
Moving on to item number 3, we'll recognize Mr. Mario Luna at this time. Ready?
Thank you, Mr. Ferris and school board. Where are they? Okay. My script here. The North Forney Indoor Percussion Ensemble has had an incredible season that, sorry. North Forney Indoor Percussion Ensemble has had a great first season with their first ever performance at the Winter Guard International World Championships in Dayton, Ohio on April 11th and 12th. The ensemble attended the World Championships as the 2019 North Texas Percussion Scholastic Concert World Class Champions. With a score of 91.35, North Forney was seated 4th going into World Championship competition based on the original scores. After competing against groups from across the nation in preliminary competition on April 11th, North Forney was ranked 3rd with a score of 91.95, which was 4.45 points away behind first place. The top 6 groups in prelims moved on to the finals competition on April the 12th. The students and their director, Mr. Jim Gist, listened carefully to the feedback and made adjustments in their performance in approximately 24 hours that they had prior to their finals performance. In an energetic and emotional performance in finals competition at midnight, because I was there, lost my place. On April 12th, the North Forney Indoor Percussion Ensemble achieved what seemed impossible as the judges rewarded their performance with a score of 94.4, earning 2nd place in the World Championships, less than half a point, 0.45 behind first place. This is the first appearance by any Forney ISD Fine Arts group at the World Championships. The North Forney Indoor Percussion Ensemble is very grateful for the support of their high school principal and the entire North Forney High School administrative team. The North Forney Percussion Ensemble would like to thank Dr. Terry and the Forney ISD School Board for the opportunity to travel to Dayton, Ohio to represent our district and community on a world stage. People in the percussion world definitely know who North Forney High School is now, and we look forward to continue this tradition of excellence for many years to come. Please join me in congratulating these students on this great accomplishment. That's Greg Wallen.
Is she here? Thank you, Ms. Selman. Are you ready?
I am.
Okay, you may go ahead.
All right. Good evening. My name is Donna Selman. I'm the coordinator of CTE, which is Career and Technical Education for Forney ISD. It is my pleasure to recognize the outstanding accomplishments of the Forney ISD FFA students. FFA, which is Future Farmers of America, is an intracurricular student organization for those students interested in agriculture and leadership. The students being recognized this evening received third place or higher at a major stock show this school year, as well as received the honor of being in the FFA chorus at the state convention. Before I call the names of the students, I'd like to extend a special thank you to the FFA teacher sponsors for all they do for the FFA program: Thomas Bailey, Ross Jones, Amanda Hempel, and Jake Sinkerick. So please join me in congratulating the following Forney High School FFA and Junior FFA students: Mackenzie Adams, Nate, I'm going to mess it up, Bocanagra, Taylor Bosher, Presley Donahue, Alexis Garcia, Fernando Grinhalva, Christopher Longshore, Leah Lopez, Lillian Odell, Kaylee Sanders, Kimberlyn Sanders, Hunter Shaw, and Emma Snow. Congratulations to our Forney High School FFA winners. All right, now please join me in congratulating the following North Forney High School FFA and Junior FFA students: Melanie Alvarez, Jacob Baker, Taylor Beckner, Olivia Black, McKenna Briley, Colby Brune, Trinity Craven, Emily Dobbs, Kelsey Goins, Justin Harris, Alyssa Higgins, Tristan Johnson, Faith Mayfield, Ariel Neal, Mickey Owens, Allison Rogers, Lindsay Smith, Micah Smith, Colin Tingle, Cameron Turnbow, Carter Turnbow, Kelsey Turnbow, Andrew Walker. Congratulations, North Forney.
Thank you, Ms. Selman. Moving on to item 6. At this time, we'd like to introduce Mr. Neil Weaver, who will introduce our athletic recognitions. Mr. Weaver.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris, Dr. Terry, members of the board. It's a distinct honor and a privilege, as always, to recognize our student athletes who have either been recognized at or qualified for the state level competition or recognition. We have all 3 varieties this evening: all-state academic students, we have all-state students, and we have a state qualifier this evening to recognize. And we'll begin with our soccer programs, beginning with Forney High School boys and girls. Our Forney High School boys who are recognized as academic all-state students have to receive a 92 or above average in all of their classes and be a significant contributing member to the varsity team to be recognized by the Texas High School Coaches Association. Forney High School boys soccer students this evening receiving this recognition, Matthew Huffman and Omar Soldavilla. For Forney High School girls, recognized by Texas High School Coaches and Texas Girls Coaches Association as Academic All-State. And I'll ask Coach Tricia Williamson to come up and join me too. Miss Hannah Udiski, Miss Maddie Lewis, and Miss Anna Enochs. Coach Fleur, if you would come on in too. Coach Ashley Fleur from North Forney High School. North Forney High School girls receiving Academic All-State recognition, Miss Shannon Boyle, Madison Lingerfelt, Lauren Lamont, and Elizabeth Lewis. And in addition to Academic All-State, Elizabeth Lewis was recognized as an All-State goalie for North Forney High School. Forney and North Forney All-State recognition. All right, we also have, congratulations, ladies and gentlemen. We also have Forney High School girls track represented this evening. First, Coach Sandy Cook, I think, will come in and join us. And we have 5 young ladies who are recognized as Texas High School Coaches Association Academic All-State. Miss Tyler Haney, Cassidy Hill, Drisani Hernandez, Madeline Milby, and Arissa Ramirez. Additionally, we have a state qualifier. I was fortunate just this last weekend to return from the state track meet in Austin, where I saw Miss Bracy Vaughn represent Forney High School in the 100-meter hurdles. Bracy is a sophomore.
He did all those. We're on item 11.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now we're moving on to item 11. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Judy Weber to introduce our Forney High School UIL Awards. We're going to do both, right? Forney High and North.
It's my pleasure to recognize students who excel also in academics. So the Academic State UIL Meet was held recently on the University of Texas at Austin campus. And this year, both high schools had participants qualify for the state meet. For Forney High School, Dell Donahue qualified for the state meet for news writing and also finished 5th place at state. North Forney High, 4 students qualified for the state meet: Connor Craig, Thomas Salisbury, Kevin Harvey, and Jordan Milhorn. And Connor Craig finished 4th place for writing current issues.
Is that all the students? Okay. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate the parents and students being here. I think a lot of them have already gone, but we appreciate them being here tonight, and we want to make it more intimate for all you people here. It's really what it was. So now we're moving on to the important people here on the front row, and we're going to ask Ms. Judy Weber to introduce our elementary teachers and secondary teachers of the year.
It's my pleasure to introduce our Teachers of the Year to you, school board members, and Dr. Terry. For Blackburn Elementary, Laurie Martinez. For Claiborne Elementary, Mary Ladwig. For Criswell Elementary, Lauren Smith. For Crosby Elementary, Sarah Long. For Henderson Elementary, Erin Duplessis. For Johnson Elementary, Angie Harlan. For Lewis Elementary, Amy Stout. For Ray Elementary, Chastity Crawford. For Smith Elementary, Lacey Wright. For Forney Learning Academy, Early Education, Carrie Petrie. For secondary, Brown Middle School, Sally Waite. For Warren Middle School, Marissa Moore. For Forney High School, Sarah Seipert. For North Forney High School, CJ McClung. And Forney Learning Academy Secondary Education, Connie Martins. Thank you very much. And now I'd like to announce our Elementary Teacher of the Year for Forney ISD, Miss Angie Harlan from Johnson Elementary. And for our secondary schools, Sarah Seipert from Forney High School.
Okay, moving on to item 4, the 2019 Best Communities for Music Education Award. Our presenter will be Ms. Judy Weber.
We'll get the new one in a few weeks. All right, school board members and Dr. Terry, I'm really pleased to announce that the National Association of Music Merchants Awards program, they recognize outstanding efforts for schools who have an exceptionally high commitment to access to music education and make music education a significant part of a well-rounded education. Forney has received this award for 5 consecutive years. It's awarded to the top few districts out of the over 1,000 districts in the state. So I'd like to recognize Mario Luna for his work in our music education programs here at Forney ISD.
Moving on to item 5. At this time, it's our Forney Leadership 2.0 participants, and Ms. Sandy Whitley, Director of Future Learning, will introduce.
Dr. Terry, Mr. Ferris, board members, I'd like to present Forney Leadership 2.0 Class of 2019. These 23 people spent the year learning from district and campus leaders. Their expertise is strong, their work ethic exemplary, and they are now ready to take their place among future leaders in classrooms, campuses, and at the district level.
You ready? Item here, Dr. Terry has an introduction he'd like to make.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Really excited to welcome a new staff member to our Forney family here, Mr. Ron Sterling Jr. If you'll come on up. Let's welcome Ron. He's going to be our new Director of Student Services with Rick Gear's department. Let's welcome Ron. Ron has been the high school principal at Sunnyvale for the last 5 years. He's made a run through Tyler and Little Elm. We found out we had in common at one point in time. And I know when Rick and I had the chance to visit with him, we're just extremely excited about what he's going to bring to the student services side of things and our community as a whole. So Ron, we'd like to welcome you to our Forney family, sir.
Thank you. So first of all, I would like to begin by thanking the school board, Dr. Terry, Mr. Gear. Of course, congratulations to all of our Teacher of the Year recipients. Of course, all of our students that were recognized tonight. I'm extremely excited about the new opportunity in Forney ISD. Of course, I've been your neighbor in Sunnyvale, so I've looked afar and I've been able to keep close tabs on it. This is an outstanding district. I've already had the opportunity to meet some great leadership here, so I'm really excited for the new chapter and the new opportunity, and thank you for having me.
Thanks, Ron.
Welcome to Forney ISD. We're glad that you joined us. We will move on to item 5, which is recess. We'll take a 5-minute break at this time, and then we'll reconvene back into order. Thank you. Okay.
Just principals.
Great.
I think Neil's doing the first. Neil's going to do the first one, the principal for the other two.
So Brandy's not doing it? Brandy's on my script.
I think Neil's doing it because of athletics. Brandy's on the script.
Yeah. Y'all need to get it figured out. It doesn't matter. Okay. Okay, if I can have everybody's attention, we'll call our meeting back to order.
She is.
Thank you very much. We're moving on to item number 6. Item number 6 is donations. At this time, we'd like to have 6A, acceptance of donation from the North Forney Baseball Bullpen Club. Ms. Brandy Hosick, principal at North Forney High School, will be presenting.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Good evening, Board and Dr. Terry. Thank you for inviting me this evening to present a donation from the North Forney Bullpen Club to North Forney High School athletics. We are grateful for their support of North Forney High School. This donation was made in response to the losses incurred from a fire that greatly damaged part of our athletic facility and destroyed every uniform and every piece of equipment belonging to our baseball team. Thank you for having huge hearts and rescuing our students in their time of need. At this time, I'd like to present a donation in the amount of $10,000 from the North Forney Bullpen Club to North Forney High School athletics for your consideration of your approval. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Johnson, do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Regan? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I hear none. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 6B, acceptance of donation from the Crosby Elementary PTO. At this time, Ms. Leslie Rader will be presenting.
Good evening. Thank you for inviting me to present a donation from the Crosby Elementary PTO. We're so grateful for their support of our staff, students, and teachers. They try through their fundraising efforts to meet all the needs that our campus has. With this donation, we will be able to purchase interactive projectors for several classrooms to create equity across the campus. So at this time, I'd like to present a donation from the PTO in the amount of $6,000 to Crosby Elementary for consideration of your approval.
Thank you, Ms. Rader. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. And second?
Second.
Ms. Green, thank you very much. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And I hear none. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 6C, acceptance of a donation from the Lewis Elementary PTO. This time, Ms. Jenny Harstrom will be presenting.
Good evening. Thank you for also inviting me to come and present the donation from our Lewis PTO. Our PTO has worked very hard this year to cut budgets in other areas and help get things together, knowing we were undergoing a pretty big change this next year, going kinder through fourth, and that there would be needed things with that. So they are wanting to donate an amount of $10,000 to go towards our library. It's undergoing a lot of changes, and we're going to have some needs outside of what's being funded, furniture mostly. But looking for that for the library. So at this time, I'd like to present a donation for the PTO in the amount of $10,000 to Lewis Elementary in consideration for your approval.
Thank you very much. Board, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Green. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Do I have any opposed? No, none. We're just going to say none. That work for you guys? All right. Principals, would y'all step forward for one group photo? Thank you very much. Thank you, Board, for approving those, and we do appreciate all our community support and our parents who make that possible to give those added extras to the campuses. I know they can use it greatly. Moving on then to item 7 at this time, public forum. At this time, no one wishes to speak to the board, so we'll move on to item 8. These next 5 items are reports only and require no action from the board. And we'll start off with item 8A. Mr. John Chase will be giving our monthly financial report.
A few people left for this riveting financial data here. The activity for the month of March, the collections for the month was $1,500,000. Expenditures for the month was $6,600,000. Year-to-date revenue collected was $65.9 million, or 76% of the amount estimated. And year-to-date expenditures was $76.9 million, or 72% of the amount estimated. And since we're 75% of the way through the fiscal year, you would expect those percentages to be around 75%, so we're in pretty good shape so far. Moving on the debt service side, not a lot of activity to report here. We did have $230,000 worth of collections for the month for property taxes. There were no expenditures. Year to date, the revenue collected is $20.8 million, or 100% of the amount estimated, and our expenditures are $18.7 million, or again 100% of the amount estimated. So that pretty much wraps up the report. The cash and investments on hand at the end of March for the general fund, food service, debt service, capital projects was $58.7 million. Now that's the report. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. We'll move on to item 8B, quarterly investment report.
Through the third quarter, ending March 31st, our total cash and investments on hand was $59.7 million. These funds were on deposit at Citibank, or one of 3 investment pools that we currently are part of. The interest rate that we earned on these deposits were anywhere from 1.1% at Citibank up to 2.62% at Texpool. So finally, the total interest earned for the quarter was $416,000, and that's the investment report. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Any questions from the board? I hear none. Moving on then to item 8C.
The third quarter tax collection report, again, as we reported in prior quarters, our tax levy for the year was $62.2 million. Through the third quarter, we've collected $60.5 million, or 97.3% of the amount of the levy. The delinquent tax collections was $960,000, or 1.5% of the current levy. Those percentages are pretty close to where we've averaged for the last 5 years. Down at the footnotes, you can see we were 97.5% on the current levy for the 5-year average, and 1.5%, same as we are this year for the delinquent tax collections. And then Finally, the big number that we have in our adjustments roll, we've had these for the last 4 or 5 years. I think the last time I reported it here, the last quarter, we were at $400,000 that we've added for our ag rollback adjustments, and we're up to $675,000, which this is almost the highest year we've had for the last 10 years. And so, as we've reported before, as property gets pulled out of an ag exemption and added to the roll for commercial or residential use, they'll go back and assess the taxes as if it was valued at market value for the last 5 years. I think at this rate we keep going, we're not going to have a whole lot of ag property left in the district, but that's the quarterly tax report. If you've got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mr. Chase. Any questions from the board? And I hear none. We'll move on then to item 8D, our financial advisor report.
As the board's aware, the district recently sold the remaining $21.6 million of bonds that were authorized in the May 2006 bond election. The proceeds of these bonds will be used to construct building additions at 4 of our elementary schools. We have Christian Merritt here tonight with us to discuss the terms of the sale that we just completed. They were reported to you in a board brief, but he's going to give you some more information on that, as well as discuss the status of our debt portfolio and how that relates to future bonding capacity. So, Christian, if you'll come on up and take it away.
Thanks, John.
You just advance it.
Okay. Good to see everybody. Been a couple months, which is longer than we've usually been going recently. But just wanted to touch on, as John said, the most recent bond sale. This now is one of my favorite slides to look at after growing out of that a little bit. But for those of you that might not remember, this is our capacity slide when we were looking at it in March of 2015. We anticipated 4% growth after 2015, which we knew. All the red columns on the side is the deficit we were staring down over and above 50 cents every single year. So that 2019 year, coincidentally, this is a year based on the information we had at the time and the projections we were making, we thought we were going to be roughly $5 million in the hole, 5.2 the next, 4 the next, and so on. So in March of 15, we had a rating of A- from S&P Global Ratings. This year we realized another rating upgrade from S&P in which we got an A+. It was the first time in 2008, so that's pretty awesome. In a decade, we hadn't seen this kind of bond rating. So huge kudos to y'all and the administrative staff. It's fantastic. I'm happy for you. I'm proud of you. Proud to be a part of the team, and it's an unbiased third party giving that rating. So something to be excited about. They cited prudent budget planning, strong reserves, and economic growth as the reasons for the rating upgrade. So these are just the real key points of the most recent bond sale. It did sell the remaining authorized issuance from the 2006 bond election. We priced it, which means we locked in the interest rates and the structure on March 13th. We funded on April 2nd. We had a total interest cost of $373 on a 30-year term, which is just absolutely fantastic, along with a call date of an 8-year period. So call provisions, as y'all are probably pretty familiar now, we've used a lot of them, not just to refinance, but also to restructure and keep flexibility in terms of if we didn't have the growth that we realized, or if we had more growth than we realized, we had some more opportunities. 10 years is the standard, and so we were able to get that 373 with an 8-year call. So it's just that much better for us. Project fund deposit of 21.56. Again, 0 remaining authorization. And I put the bond rating again, and I highlighted the interest and the call date because we wouldn't have been able to achieve either one of those without that A+ rating. So again, it's just fantastic. So now, slightly updated spreadsheet, a little bit more color on it. And I try to match up the years, so 19 is fairly in line with 19, and 30 is fairly in line with 30. But one of the really exciting things for me is that we're looking at this in a completely different manner now. Instead of how much are we in the hole, it's how much capacity do we have. And as y'all know, we've been continuing to charge 50 cents on the INS rate, cash to fees bonds. After the 2019 cash defeasance, just off cash defeasing, and again, that's when you take the money and you don't refinance, but you completely pay off the principal, and there's then no interest upflow from that point. After the 2019, which has already been committed, we'll have saved $3.8 million in cash defeasances alone since 2017. So again, absolutely fantastic. The INS rate required, you can see, is a little bit lower. I just put a little code into Excel to say if it's under 40, make it green. If it's between 40 and 50, make it yellow. So that's kind of how the colors went there. Before, I didn't need to worry about that code, so it was nice to learn it and implement it. You can also see, as far as 2020 goes, the 20.5, and I'll touch on this in a second as well. The 20.5 is a very conservative estimate based on the preliminary values that we have received already from the CAD. And then we took 4% down again, just to be, again, conservative. So if that were to go up or down, that would fluctuate. So just a little bit on the relationship of taxable values and the tax rate. Essentially, every piece of property that's not government owned in Forney ISD has some sort of taxable value to it. The district's, the entire district, excuse me, is the entire district's value is what the tax rate is levied against. So I kind of have this seesaw kind of image here. As values go down, the tax rate increases to generate the same amount. If values go up, you can generate the same amount with the lower tax rate, or in our case, and based on our portfolio, I would continue to recommend that we charge 50 cents and use that money as we have been in the past. As your values go up and your tax rate stays the same, you generate more dollars, and that's where that extra capacity comes from. So this is a historical freeze-adjusted valuation chart of the district. 2019's in yellow. Again, that's just based off preliminary values. We don't want to build any permanent structures off preliminary values. But that is that 20.5% increase, which takes us just over $4.5 billion. It's been really, really nice as far as being the financial advisor that was sweating up here many a time to see some of that growth. But I think we've really done quite a job putting ourselves in a situation to make the most out of the growth as we've come into it. So this is just a slightly different take on the demographer's report that you guys have seen. What we did, the ranking, we held the ranking number in terms of the home starts, and it's ranked by annual closings in the fourth quarter of 2018. So that's what the ranking is. Now, one thing that we added is the debt per ADA, which is in the middle, and the bonds not sold, and then the starts per ADA. I think the starts per ADA is a really big, it's a way to differentiate. If you can see Dallas ISD, who has far more home starts and closings than Forney does, but they're at the very bottom at 1.25% of starts per ADA. I think it's easier to look at it in terms of who are the fast growth districts and how are they growing, and what are their stats compared to ours, as opposed to looking just at the home starts. Does that make sense? So when we compare that way, and we look at the debt per ADA, Prosper's up there at $106,000 per kid, with $1.33 billion that they haven't even sold yet. So that debt per ADA column doesn't even include the column next to it of authorized but unissued. That one especially is pretty eye-popping. But you see you got Little Elm, Midlothian. One of the things you'll notice too, Forney is the only district in that group of starts over ADA in double digits, which doesn't have any authorized but unissued yet. So just something to keep in mind. Again, much the same way that we have in the past. Keeping the tax rate at 50 cents would be my recommendation, whether that is continuing to cash to fees bonds the way we have and setting ourselves up for the future, or addressing growth. Now, one thing I will say is that, like we said before, we have issued all authorized bond debt. So there's no more authorization left to issue the new money that we just finished up with this last transaction. But either way, I think the route that is most prudent is to continue charging 50 cents and making the most out of those dollars. I think that's my last slide. Is there any questions on the most recent transaction or any of the other stuff that I was talking about?
Any questions for Mr. Merritt?
I just had one. Can you go back to the green slide, the one where you put your green code in?
Yes, sir.
Am I assuming those numbers right? The surplus on the far right column is in the assumption that we stay at the 50-cent rate?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further questions?
Mr. Ferris, if you don't mind, if I just take a liberty to add one thing, just reiterate what Christian said of what amazing information and data this is, and that's only through the work of this board and the conservative fiscal management that philosophy that you've had over the past 5-10 years to get us in this position. Also, just like to thank Christian and John and the work that they've done is just amazing to see us go from being 16 cents over to now 10 and 15 cents under that 50-cent cap, and give us an opportunity to build future facilities. So thank you all. This is something definitely to be proud of, and as well as that A+ rating as we move forward just puts additional money back in our pocket. So great job, guys.
Any other comments, questions from the board? Thank you, Mr. Merritt. We appreciate you taking time to come up and give us an update. Moving on then to item 9, our consent agenda. Item 9A is minutes from the April 1st, 2019 budget workshop. Item 9B is minutes from April 1st regular board meeting. Item 9C is our budget amendment. Item 9D is statement of impact forms from charter schools. At this time, the board may take action on them separately or collectively. Do I have a motion from the board? Mr. Johnson's made a motion. We approve them collectively. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Andrews. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And I hear none. Thank you. Consent agenda is approved. Moving on to item 10. Consideration and possible approval of proposals pertaining to additions and renovations for Blackburn Elementary, Crosby Elementary, Henderson Elementary, and Lewis Elementary. This time, I'd like to recognize Mr. John Chase, who will present the proposals pertaining to these additions. Mr. Chase?
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. As you mentioned, we did have a request for proposals out to construct these additions and renovations at the campuses that you just mentioned. We held a pre-bid conference on April the 11th. And the bids were actually due on April the 25th. And we have Vaughn Gallagher here tonight with us to discuss the results of the bids. And if you'd like to come up, Vaughn, and
thanks for having me tonight. As John said, we took bids on the 25th. I couldn't be more pleased with how those bids came out. In the current market we are, and our time frame in April for bidding the project. We had a great response. You can see from the bid tab the number of bidders that we had. You can see how close the numbers are, which is a great reflection on the plans that Huckabee gave us, so everyone was bidding on the same project. A little bit of difference in some of those is always there's an interpretation when you have renovations involved and summer schedules involved, how people view those items, and it's just kind of a firm by firm situation. We knew that our budget was going to be close. We've been working towards the $23 million. We took some alternates to allow us some adjustments, so if everything came in great, we could do them. If it didn't, we wouldn't. Some we could hold off on, but I think all that worked out to be a pretty good plan where we are. If you look at the total sheet, this sheet right here, the the information everyone really wants to look at is down at the bottom. And so when you take the base bid, and we had several alternates, we tried to get the paving loop at Henderson and the additional parking at Henderson into the budget, so we took those as alternates. As well, we had an alternate for deleting some millwork in the classrooms. After discussion with the district, they would rather go the furniture route, so we increased the furniture budget a little bit and then took that alternate. So that brings us down to the 23,246. And then what we did, I originally was thinking about doing those alternates, those paving alternates next summer, but truthfully, now's the time to do it. Everyone's out there, those trades are on site. So we looked at Smith and Ray, and we know that we're going to be able to return $300,000 from those jobs. So we've put that to these jobs so that we've got everything within the budget constraints. So, any questions on that? I think we have a great group of bidders. We've post-bid everyone. Our biggest discussions have been obviously time frame, manpower, do you have the resources to take care of the project? We've gotten those answered. One scope item to discuss that I'm going to ask is that if you so choose to approve it, accept the demolition bid. The contractor that we have, they're a great contractor. They've done a lot of work for us. That's a package that this close to summer kind of becomes difficult to find people who still have the resources. They made us aware that, they were going to have trouble staffing the job, and we started losing demo bidders a few days before it bid. So we had them in the budget, but then we started looking at other alternatives. So we have a new drywall contractor to us who's actually local here in town, North Texas Drywall Systems. And we then talked to them about if they could complete that scope of work, because it's not like we're doing major demolition. We're doing pretty basic interior finish out type demolition. They're very capable, and I think we're going to be able to work with them and save over $100,000 by using them. So we've got the more conservative approach in here now. So if you just would make that recommendation minus the demo, then we'll be in good shape from there. Questions?
No questions? Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Appreciate
Thank
your time.
you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Chase, anything else from you?
Our recommendation is that you accept those bids as presented and award the contracts as specified.
Thank you very much. Any further questions from the board? With no questions, Dr. Terry, what is your recommendation?
Yes, sir. I recommend, we're actually very excited about the construction contracts and bids we received back. I just ask that you approve those as presented with the exclusion of the demolition in our motion in language if possible.
Okay, you've heard a recommendation from administration. Do I have a motion from the board?
Mr. Ferris, I make a motion the board approve the proposal for the construction contract as presented with the exclusion of the demolition.
Thank you, Mr. Carroll. Do I have a second? Ms. Dobbs, thank you very much. Have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? I hear none. Thank you very much. Moving on to item 11 then. At this time, I'd like to ask Ms. Kim Morzek to present the proposed Zeno Office Solutions copier lease.
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. Board, we're excited to bring this proposal to you tonight. We currently are using two separate managers for our copier machines here in the district. We have Sesco, who manages our Xerox machines, and then Zeno does some of our Kyocera machines. It's a new company we brought on last year. We weren't 100% happy with our Xerox machines and Sesco, and so we brought in somebody else to kind of see what else was out there. We've been very, very pleased with the way these machines are performing on our campuses and the customer support we're receiving from Kyocera. So they have looked at our fleet and are offering a buyout of all the leases we currently have to allow us to put our entire fleet of copiers on a 3-year cycle together. It's actually a 60-month lease that after 3 years, they replace all of our equipment with whatever the most updated equipment is at that time. It's actually going to save the district on the monthly lease, which is the guaranteed cost you have to pay, about $7,000 a month, which is $32,000 over the year. They're called a click charge. Right now we pay 5 cents for every color copy. That is the same. And .004 on every black and white copy, .0035. Their proposal is .004, which is slightly higher. But principals now can manage the number of copies their teachers make and save a lot of money in their budget based on this new proposal. They are currently, UT in Austin uses them. I don't hold that against them. They're very happy with that. Their Baylor Health, the entire Baylor Health organization uses them. They have very, very high customer satisfaction ratings. Our campus secretaries who are dealing with them now are very excited about this opportunity to perhaps change. So they have a 4-hour emergency response time, and if they can't fix your machine within 48 hours, they'll bring a loaner out to the campus. So no campus would be down more than 2 days with a copy machine, and we don't have that kind of service right now. So any questions on this proposal? It would be a purchase over $100,000 because of the click charges combined with monthly leases.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions from the board?
Just one. Do these contracts come with a bailout for performance?
Yes, I actually wrote in after 3 years we can bail out, but I've checked the references. They don't have complaints. People have been with them for a really, really long time. So we actually had them add that into some specific information added into our contracts to include that after 3 years.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions? Dr. Terry, what is your recommendation?
Thank you, Mr. Ferris. I recommend the board approve the Xeno Office Solutions as our new copy provider with the lease that's presented.
Thank you very much. You've heard the presentation, you heard Dr. Terry's recommendation. Do I have a motion from the board, please?
So moved.
Mr. Andrews, have a motion. Do I have a second? Ms. Dobbs, thank you very much. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And I hear none. Thank you very much. Moving on down to item 13, consideration and possible approval of ratification employment of professional contract personnel. Do I have a motion?
Mr. Ferris, I move that we approve the personnel as recommended in closed session.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Regan, thank you very much. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And I hear none. Dr. Terry, is there anything that we may have missed you need to address?
No, sir. I think that'll do it. We've got a lot of great events coming up, and what a great night of celebrating the students tonight. So thank you all.
Thank you very much. It was a big night. We have a lot of dates coming up. You'll notice there are announcements looking forward. May the 20th, Forney High School Awards, May 21st, North Forney Awards, and then graduation for both on the 22nd. We have a holiday in there, and then our next full board meeting will be May 28th. So please mark your dates for May 28th and then June 24th. If there's nothing further at this time, I'd like to adjourn this meeting. It's now 7:47 p.m.